As we are waiting for the technical to help me get it done, we are going to be on the same pace. Prof have already laid the strong foundation on tax. So mine is taxing the informal sector. There are a lot of privileges, there are a lot of facts, a lot of information that we need to, galvanize in order to help our state move forward. I know we are trying to talk about Nigeria as a whole. Hasino, Anisino, Lamana Magin, Wama. So if Abia State is good, that means Nigeria will what? Be good. So we start to make Abia good. We show the pace. Of course, we are the number one. Okay, now I think Abia is number one. Am I correct? All right. So we show the pace. What can't you just? And I'll be speaking today on taxing the informal sector in Nigeria. As I said earlier on, I will be concentrating some of our facts for Abia State. At least it will give us a good standing going forward. All right, so this presentation will be in these outlines will have to do with the definition, the nature, the characteristics, and probably the brief overview of the informal sector, what they connote, the importance of taxing the informal sector. We'll talk about the challenges of taxing the informal sector, the strategies. We'll take some case studies. If there are some, case studies of people that have succeeded, some countries that have succeeded in, taxing the informal sector and how it have helped improve, the development of that country. We'll look at it. Then we'll do suggest a policy recommendation and statements. We have to make, I think, from this workshop or conference, if I can call it, policy recommendation should be. That means this PR they will have to submit, in appropriate terms. This is what we want. This is what we want government to do. This is what we must do. So we are going to, do all those things. Then we'll take some questions and answer. All right. So let's start with the definition, nature and characteristics of the informal sector. Nigeria as our case, and particularly Abia State. All right, as you can see from the picture here, this is typical demonstration or view of what the informal sector looks like. Going forward, we understand the percentage of what constitutes the informal sector, and we know what we're actually losing. All right, so informal sector, otherwise known as the underground economy. I think when I came in here, I overheard Prof also mentioning it. All right, so they are actually the vast and varied segments of the economy that operates outside the purview of the government. That means the government have no much regulation over them, right, or oversight. All right, they ranges from the streets, vending, the small scale trading, the artisanal productions, various oriented businesses. Just as we have said, if you go to area. You go to my Hamem market, some well-established businesses that are privy to government tax nets, right? What they make in a day is less than what this informal sector make. You can quote us. There is empirical evidence. In gates, so many of them, in as much as I know some, area boys or thereabouts may be collecting undue levies. Those levies are not going to the government, all right? They are Oseba, Batayeseba, or so it's not they are not captured, all right? So they make more money, but if this money or there can be harnessed appropriately, you can see that we have this is just a tip of the iceberg of what is happening without even getting some of these informal sector in place. More or less, when these informal sector are being encouraged, we use the word encouraged to be captured in tax net. So going forward, we'll check how we can get them captured and the incentive thereof. All right, so knowing what informal sector is, let's compare it with the formal sector. All right, we have some characteristics of the informal sector and that of the formal sector. Of course, you can do the vice versa, so that will not spend much time. For you to know or for you to attest that a business is actually categorized in the informal sector, that means there is little or no formal registration. All right? I can call my brother and say, please, I want us to open a business. how do you do it? Can be a business of 1 billion. You make profits, but you don't want government to know that you're doing that business. Am I correct? So you don't even want to even go to tax office or via all those CAC to get your business what registered. The fear is if I do, the government will tax me heavily. But the idea which we are trying to encourage here now is to tell them there is importance, there is significant, there is benefits of even you paying your tax, even more than you not paying. Are we together? All right, so there is little, they have a little scale. Sometimes we may refer to it as SMEs, but many of them are even less than SMEs, just small businesses, all right? They are predominantly self-employed. They don't, the wife or the husband will be the CEO, the wife will be the auditor general, the children will be the accountant general, and the case may be, all right? Informal employment practices. You don't advertise for employment. I may just as I'm coming right now, I may see somebody that speaks so well for what I say, don't worry, come to my company. I'm going to employ you. And before you know it, I've employed the person. All right, but in a same case, in a formal case, you don't do that, right? You must pass through some, processes. And that's why our employment are being secured. So the man that employed you now from the boss can also sack you from the boss. Can even ask you, madam, please don't come to work tomorrow. We no longer need your services. So there is no formal practices. Anything can happen. I think that is one of the characteristics of the informal sector. All right, the employment and income generation contributor is just very low. If you compare it to that of the formal, you can see that there is entry is difficult. If you are entering into the formal sector, the registration, everything is just, you must have to make your presence known. And of course, in a market, open market, it is demand and supply that drive the force, all right, of the market. So for you to come, you must be competitive enough to know that you come to do what? Business. All right, so there are resources, frequent foreign ownership, and the rest of them. Okay, let's not dwell here for a point of time. All right, so let's take briefly the importance of taxing the informal sector. I will explain this. It's actually a study that was carried out. And we can see the blue, that's what I call this red, I will call it, I don't know, that the 60% constitutes the unregistered. That means this underground economy, 60%. In Nigeria, not aside 60%. It is only 40% that is captured in the tax net. With this, you can see that the government is actually making laws. Am I correct? Any business that is making 40, 60 in terms of profits, the business should go down. So our idea, the importance of this, we are the drivers. Am I correct? We are the drivers. And the importance of this seminar or workshop is to know, at least, it's not possible in any country, whether advanced, developing or developed, to get zero underground economy or informal sector. It's not possible. But it's actually very much possible to make the registered, the formal sector, to be more than what? The informal sector. And that is the idea we want to inculcate. If 60% will constitute informal sector, then 40% cannot. Remember, the 40% are also paying indirectly of what the informal sector is enjoying. So it is cheating. So let's know how we can be able to, attract them at least to get registered. All right, one of the importance of taxing the informal sector, as I put here, is enhanced governance and accountability. When the informal sector is being taxed, ICANN recently, there's what we call accountability index. I know many of us here are chartered accountants, right, from ICANN or ANAN. I'm that of ICANN. All right, so we have accountability index, which measures the performance of every state. The last time our president visited Abia, I think he made that proposition or proposal to the governor. If you check the indices of what makes a good government, you understand you must be openness, accountable, right? If you are receiving 100 naira, don't say I receive 120 in order to get, foreign direct investment at the detriment of, what is, or maybe under or above. You must have to be open. You must have to be accountable. And part of the thing if you tax the informal sector in a way that is okay, in a way that is equitable, justifiable, we know the canons of taxes, right? All right, so if we apply all those mechanics, we understand that taxing them is not punishment. Until we realize that tax is not punishment, we are making some mistakes. Tax is not actually what? Punishment. It's actually a help. How citizens will help contribute to build their own states. There are some certain things naturally individual cannot do. Some certain, am I correct? It's your tax money that is used to do some of those things. So the informal sector strengthens governance and accountability by fostering greater transparency and complying with regulatory standards. Increase revenue generation. This one is correct. No need to explain it. If you are able to get them, at least if you can make this 60, we can let this 60 to 20 or 40, all right, in the next 2 or 3 years. It then means that we must have make a very reasonable mark. Am I correct? Yes. We must, as I said earlier, we may not get it up to 0, but we can have 70-30, 80-20. I think it will go a long way. Yes. Maybe if you are coming to my house, you will not be walking barefooted. You can even working a fefe. All right. So fairness and equity is part of the canons of trial. So if you tax the informal sector, it's actually very fair. All right. As I earlier said, these 40% are actually paying for what is just like we have double taxation, right? I don't want to dwell into that one. When you have been taxed for what you have suffered tax burden before, is double taxation. So if a taxpayer, those registered will feel that they are being taxed and their tax is used to cover for those who are not taxed, in their mind it is double taxation. So we are trying to suggest, and one of the importance of even taxing is equitable, is justifiable, is fair. All right? If you have 100 naira, the value of what you can get 100 naira for Mr. A should be for what? Mr. B. It should be justifiable. It should be justifiable. All right. So going forward, supporting sustainable developmental goals. We have the SGS. We know those things. Especially gender equality have been overtaken by events. I think I can see many women folks here. So it is. I can comfortably say that we are gender sensible. All right now, especially in this new administration. I think we can give a round of applause for ourselves. Before now, you just maintain. But again, let me say this. I did a paper once, I think that should be last year. I said women should come out from their shelf. All right, what a man can do. So women should come out from their shelf, actually. What a man can do, you can do. Don't be fear of any leadership position. You say, no, any other position, okay. No. Take it up. It's a challenge, and you can be refined from that. And I think our female folks have been trying to do that. And I encourage us to do more of it, because it will strengthen this informal sector. And if you check very well, you see that the informal sector is, I don't want to increase this so that I will not be biased. If you check those constitute the informal sector, in this 60%, you realize that women about 65 to 70%. And they make a lot of money. They make, if you go to Ndoro, see these women, you shop and they put a bar. You all right, so let's encourage ourselves. We are doing it. Let's do it for ourselves until we realize that we are doing it for the improvement of the society and ourselves. They will be happy to do it. All right, so it also encourages formalization. Let me not go there. Let me go direct to challenges of taxing the informal sector. This is where the problem is. As in, if you don't know where the rent start beating you, you don't know, So we have to know where, how do we get it wrong, where, and how can we, what are the challenges, so we know how to tackle it. One of the challenges, inadequate enforcement mechanism. Part of this, this creates opportunities for tax evasion and informal. Okay, there's a place I'm trying to explain. I know tax administration yeah, may say that in a management, this is like a symbiotic relationship. If there is poor enforcement mechanism, there will be poor revenue generation from tax. All right? If there is poor enforcement mechanism, there will be what? Poor revenue generation. So until the enforcement mechanism are being strengthened, how do we do that? There are many ways I'm going to suggest, but going forward, I think we have heard about the tax promas, right? Okay, I have many of the tax promas. Maybe I can share, if you need it, I can share with Madam Ifi to get so that we'll be in the same pace. You can on your own strengthen how to collect. You can, what we are doing here now should be train the trainer. After here, you go outside, you go to the market, you go to all these people and tell these people what they care to understand, what do they care to know. How will this tax I'm paying benefit me? That is only where they care to. And if you able to convince them, they will pay. They will do what? They will pay. Convenience is part of the thing we are talking about. If one, they say you must go and queue in CAC, you must go and queue in tax DC, you must go before you register your company. Say no, but in the comfort of your house, you can register what? A company. You can register a company. Those are some of the policy recommendations we have suggested. All right. So the informal sector resistance. Informal sector operators may resist taxation due to distrust in government authority, which is very correct. If you go to gates, in short, it takes a lot of strength for some of those agro. But I think there is okay, let me not make that comment. Since we are on view, I should say it. It seems there are rebranded agros that needs to be curtailed. Those rebranded agros. If you those agros, if you can get them, harness them, and teach them, even if there's going to be percentage of profits, they will work for you. Instead of taking 100% and put in their pockets, if they take 30 and government takes 70, we have achieved a lot. But at least let's start somewhere. So they must always resist. They must always resist and discourage this informal sector for going the other formal sector. They must always. They will tell you, Madam, why you say you want to register a business? You got quotas in share. So they must always resist, and this is one of the challenges the informal sector is facing. All right, administrative and capacity constraint. Tax authority in Nigeria may face administrative and capacity constraints in effectively taxing the informal sector. They include limited resources. There is always paucity of fund. All right, I want to believe even before this workshop or seminar is approved, maybe overdose is last year. Maybe over 10,000. At the dot, is now going to be 2,000. If you don't want to use 2,000, do it. Leave it. Forget it. All right. But if appropriate attention should be given to a workshop like this to get the employer and the employee abreast of the recent happenings, especially in tax, then it will go a long way. There is no investment you give to education in terms of knowledge that is a waste at any point in time. It's just like security. All right. In short, for me, I suggest there should be a mapped out budget for training of this nature. What makes a man, what makes men grow, both women, is your ability to learn, unlearn, and what? Relearn. Sometimes you have to unlearn those old things and learn new things. Upskill yourself. Don't dwell in the past records. Hey, you are in the since 1970. I will change. Don't change your life. We are in the speed leg now, very fast. Digital age. Everything is happening. Boom, boom, boom. This so-called, somebody was proposing, all these so-called, in quotes, Yahoo boy, they are ready to pay tax. If you can digitalize the payment of what? Tax to capture them, they will pay. Meanwhile, this one is right here. Anyway, but that is by the way. I hope we are together. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Lack of formalization, limited documentation. As we earlier said while we start, we can see that while registering some of those businesses, there is no documentation. So it is now very difficult, to attest, whose business is this. You can come and see a very big warehouse is unregistered. As now, Mazi Okeke, Mazi Oja, they will produce it, but you will not see human being. If it's any day they will hear that the tax people are coming, they will even Not even shutting down. They will not even lock it. They will make it look as though this place is not in existence. They will even put some certain things. This building is for sale. It's happening in Port Harcourt. Anytime they hear information that this tax authority are coming, when you just come, they say, no, nothing is happening here. I will go back. As you are just going out, they will remove those things. Some people are, yes, insiders information. That is correct. All right, so the ability to get, in our policy recommendation, our ability to get some of this documentation, the informal sector, how they operate, their ownership, we go a long way in getting them, closer to the tax net. All right, informal employment practice. I think I've mentioned that earlier. All right, so when Prof was speaking, Prof was mentioning about some strategies. I believe one or two of mine may still be there. All right, so let's talk about the strategies for taxing the informal sector. These strategies must be taken to heart. In short, if possible, if you can adopt 2 or 3 out of it, we'll go a long way. All right, what we are doing, I think Prof mentioned about awareness and education, just like here. This training don't stop here. All right, it should continue. I think I visited 1 or 2 offices. Madam Ifi, I saw some people, I said, I don't know part of the training. Say, no, but they will not leave all the offices. So it is now the chief executive and the senior management to go and tell these people, they should be aware about what you are doing. So that when somebody will ask them in the village, they should have the information to convince them. All right? So as you got this knowledge, you can also in your units, all right, in your departments, train your staff on what to do, especially when going out there. If you are not properly equipped, don't go outside there because they may ask you a question you cannot answer. And any question you didn't answer correctly will jeopardize the interests of both the administration, and them as well. All right, so one of the strategies is simplify taxation system. I think I've suggested a transform which is ongoing. You can get acquainted to that and know how, you can file your taxes, whether withholding tax, whether your VAT, at the comfort of your home. So many of my students are making money with it. If you know it, it will go a long way. Just in your house, you don't need to start calling Oja and Co. Chartered, this and this. Though they will attest to it, but you can just get all those information that will take 3 months, 6 months at the comfort of your house and just get it approved. So maybe I will send this in maybe going forward. All right, so I said this regime should be easy to understand, administer, and comply with reducing the administrative burden on the informal sector. Part of the fear which they have is the rigorous process in getting them, to the formal sector. When you now bring that long form, your maiden name, how much do you make in a day, how much do you make in a week, what is your father's name, what is all those things, in recent time they are important key information. At a side, they will just give you the information, you capture them. Gradually, you get their information, gradually, you get them. All right? So we should have a way of simplifying, the taxation system. All right, I also say implement flat rates or presumptive taxation scheme based on factors such as turnover, location, business size, and so forth and so forth. If you can go to Ndoru, if the authorities there, the powers that be, imagine now how they will be, if they should get information that tax people are coming, they have the power to even close that market. All the market are as well here in market target. It is the truth. But if they have idea that tax people are coming to give them some incentive, there is some sign incentive they are coming. They are coming to encourage you people. They are coming to share rice. They are coming to share biscuits. You understand? So for you to get somebody to inside net, it's not easy. If you don't make an work. Whether you have said it, they will say, no problem, we'll think about it. So you must apply a strategy that is working. You can suggest to the government of the day, if Ndori is a remote place, anytime you want to capture some people from Ndori, what incentive are we going to give these people in order to get them? It's better that, as instead of Ewugi, I will, that other hatch of the now, All right, so I think that is our suggestion. And awareness and education. Prof have already said this. Launch public awareness, provide target training just like this, capacity building, collaborate with community leaders, those powers that we have mentioned, that speak with them. Don't just go and enter into the market. Don't go to the village and start harassing people. Find out who are the key stakeholders. One may be leaving 1,000. So if you get that one person, you have gotten what? 1,000. So don't just go and start, do you know who I am? We are from there, we are from this, we are from no. Even if you are with, I've seen a place, even the security people, in a place I will mention, when they enter there, there's a place, there's a time, some time we reach, the security will tell you, my brother, all up ahead, please, take it easy, if not, we'll leave here now. They will tell you. So you have to apply sense, apply wisdom. And how can you apply that wisdom? Engage in the key stakeholders. Engage them. It may not be the same day. Tell them what are your wants, what are your needs, what is the way forward, how can we help. They will now open up. Even there's some certain information which you may not know, they will give you. So doing, you tell them these are what we want to do. We want government to be visible. Look at your road. Thank God, almost all the roads in Abia State is having a facelift. Am I correct? Yes. So look at governor is going to do this. He's doing this. He will do more. This and that. Education. Look at what is happening. Say, some of them is fear that is doing them. But when you get them close, they will tell you, and you liaise with them and get a compromise. All right. I've mentioned this. Let me not adopt it. Now let's talk about technology adoption. There are many tools. Some countries, advanced countries, have improved on their tools daily. Either they improve or they introduce. They face the old one, they introduce one. We can actually invest technology in order to, get the informal sector ablaze, to get in the formal sector.
Before the entire, let's get to know your name.
I am Professor Wilson Ane, the Dean, College of Management Sciences, Michael Obara, University of Agriculture, Omodike. I am a member of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria and a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Let me begin by commending the state government for having this capacity building program. Actually, this is one of the important steps we have recommended as pathway to making progress in IGR generation. But to answer your question specifically, we need to note that there are challenges connected to tax generation. Some states like Lagos, Rivers, and Anambra State have been able to substantially tackle these challenges, and that's why they are where they are currently in the tax map of Nigeria. Abia State has been making progress. I must give them credit, especially the current administration. As I mentioned during my lecture, we have seen an advancement from where they were before to where they are now. And going back, why have they not really been where they expected to be, like Ebonyi State, which is a smaller state in population, in local government, and tax sources. Yet, they are ranked number 5. That Abia State is ranked number 15. It means there are things that they have not been doing well. And that's why we are here to show them those things and how they can be corrected. Number 1 is not having tax base, not having tax data base that is the platform for planning. That is the place to begin. And what that tax base helps us to do is to have effective planning so that we can measure and gather the people that should be really taxed in the state. And from what we have shown us today, this is a path to go to, first of all, generate database that will capture the people who are taxable, and then proceed from there to do a tax gap analysis, which I explained as the difference between tax owed or tax payable and tax actually paid. Then also we need to mention also that the capacity of the tax staff appears not to have been what it ought to be, and that has affected their tax generating capacity. But with this training, we believe, having dotted the I's and crossed the T's to some extent, we have improved their capacity, their competence and know how to leverage with this knowledge and then enhance the IGR of Abia State. There are many things to have mentioned, including making sure we utilize technology so that loopholes, many times taxes are collected but they are not remitted. But with what you have shown us, using technology, we can diminish the loophole and increase the tax available to government. So plugging the loopholes is critical to increasing revenue, and this is one of the things we have stressed in our training today. We have also mentioned that there are a lot of people, as we gave statistics, that tax per capita in Abia State is lower than the national average, whereas the national average revolves around almost 4,000. Abia's tax per capita, IGR aspect, is just about 3,000 plus. That means on the average, each person in Abia pays just about 3,000 as tax, and that is not acceptable. And this training will have shown us that the way to demonstrate that this capacity building exercise is worthwhile is by pushing the tax per capita to a neighborhood beyond 4,000. That will be a pointer to the fact that we have taken home the lessons learned and we have gone ahead to go to the field to get them done. We've also challenged staff here that they should be the trainer, that having this size here is first step in the right direction. Or secondly, they must go to the grassroots and extend this training, know-how and knowledge to those they are working with, that a tree does not make a forest. Having gathered the knowledge, they should teach others so that the knowledge they now have, as they share it with others, they will have increased capacity to do better work in terms of tax generation for Abia State. I see the future as being bright for Abia State because of the knowledge they have. This is the second time they're having this program within 3 months. That shows the capacity of the government and those in charge to really increase the tax generating capacity of the staff of the BIR. So that's something that should be encouraged.
Thank you very much. Dr. Oja Ihai Chukwu, promise. Yes, you can see that the Oja and Ihai Chukwu is Igbo, not Hausa. Okay. Yeah. I'm also a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN. Enormous work that the government of the day is trying to do needs money to be done. Enormous observations have been made. Enormous tax is there to be achieved. So government of the day may not function maximally without the citizen paying tax. And that is why we encourage that the citizen should help the government of the day to build the society by payment of the tax. Remember, this tax is a symbiotic relationship. If you pay tax, it's for your own good. If you don't pay tax, it's against you. So it's always encouraged for the citizen to pay their tax. It is for their own good and for the betterment of the state.